Okay, so welcome, Miriam. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, I'm wearing this today in honor of your mom.
I love it.
So I'm gonna put my jumper on because I'm in Scotland. You're in Dublin. It's cold. I don't know about there, but okay. How can I start this? So your mother today is gonna be interviewed by a famous presenter in Spain, by Julia Otero. And this is part of an ongoing situation. And I was thinking, I'm wearing this t-shirt saying as strong as a mother, and then I was thinking, what about as strong as a daughter? You feel that you have had to be strong?
Yes, I definitely feel like I learned to be strong since I was younger because um, when this all started, I wasn't really conscious or aware of what was going on. But then I realized that I was more mature than other kids my age when, for example, I was 9 and I had to move houses, go live with different people. Just basically my life changed in all senses. So yeah, I would say that I'm strong, but thanks to my mom as well.
And for many of us, just learning like me, what's going on, and speaking to your mom the other day, there is an aspect of this that is just, it's unthinkable. It's like, it comes as such a, there's a lot of discussion as the instinct of a mother. To me, it's very easy. Not all women have an instinct to be a mother, but when you are a mother, because of health and biology, once you have that bond with your baby, you do protect. It's very strong, So I think that to have a government in Spain that is particularly saying all day how much of a, how much are there for the women, changing all the language for women, all these things, then being the first one that is not giving this pardon to your mom on a case which is that she had been protecting you. That's what she has done effectively. Is it that mad to you as well? Is it something that you think, how can this be happening?
Yes, to me, I obviously, when people ask me what is the reason that this situation is going on, I honestly don't know how to give a proper reason because it shouldn't be this way. Um, as you were saying, this bond that you have with your baby, I don't know this yet because I'm not a mom, but I have seen my mom just suffering so much from this situation, and I can only imagine how it has to be when you're pregnant. Sorry, when you're pregnant with your baby and you're suffering, your partner is basically abusing you, not only physically but mentally and even sexually while you're pregnant, and you decide that you will um, move on and give your baby a better life, and you decide to separate from him. And that's when the nightmare actually starts. The worst part is when you take on and separate, and you have to give your baby away to this man that was abusing you. So for me, this whole situation is just twisted. Like, I cannot find the reason that we as kids are forced, not only, like, it's not like we have a choice. I said no uncountable times, like millions of times, and we're forced to just go with them, even live with them, just see them sometimes for a few hours, a couple of hours a week, but sometimes even to live with them.
And that, it's just, I understand you in some level. We're very different. There's an age gap. I think yesterday, when I spoke to you on the phone, I thought, like, oh my God, I sound like a mom, the way I was talking to you. It's like, this kind of distance. But there is something close, and is that I am the daughter of an abuser. And, and it was at a different time. I'm from 1974. So, I am shocked to understand that even in the years that this happened, I mean, when your mother was telling me 2000, I'm thinking, Yeah, my son is Miriam's age, so that's kind of modern times. I remember the 2000s being, modernity. How on earth this has still happened, and how on earth we're still having, giving so much weight to a father when everything is saying that this person is abusive, and the father seems to come first, and that is like a carte blanche or a voucher to do anything, to the point of, as you're very well saying, silencing the children, silencing the women. It's beyond me. I don't understand, how can we still be there at this point? We're talking about 21st century, and now we're talking about 2022. There is the possibility, and I'm sorry to put it like that, but obviously you know this, there's the possibility of your mother entering prison. And what how do you even begin to think about that, and what is the impact that this is having in your life and your mother's life? What is the feeling?
Mhm.
And I'm sorry if it is too personal and you don't want to answer, of course, just you don't have to.
No, it's okay. Um, so I was actually reading the other day a letter that I wrote. Those letters that I used to write just, to put my feelings somewhere,
Yeah.
even though they never reached the person that I was writing to, because I was writing, I guess, to a judge or just someone that could help me, but these letters never got anywhere. But I was reading one the other day from when I was 15, so that would mean 6 years ago. And that was probably, I think, one of the first times that we were threatened by my mom entering prison. I was the anger in this letter and the fact that I'm still in the same position. Like it is really weird to say it, but I'm used to this feeling of fear going on continuously throughout the years in my life. So in this letter, I was saying, please, 6 months ago, that was at that moment, a judge allowed me to stop having visits with my father. And that's where my life got so much easier. 6 months later, I still cannot be happy and peacefully with my mom because a threat comes again. So nothing has changed really, just the fact that she, as you said, she's waiting for this pardon. I think, is that how you say it in English?
Yeah, I think it's pardon.
So the other times it actually came, 3 other times. So we were okay with that, even though it shouldn't have been this way since the beginning. But the fact that this time I guess it was denied to her. I was not expecting this, to be honest, and it was a shock, and I'm still nervous and anxious. I'm far away from her. I just don't know how to act, to be honest. In my opinion, this whole situation is just the system. It is giving abusive men the perfect weapon to hurt their victims.
Yeah.
Which is the children. Because I used to think, which is really sad, actually, my childhood best friend, she had, well, her father just left them because he had an addiction problem. And I used to think, you're so lucky. You're so lucky that he actually moved away and left you, live in peace, because he just doesn't let me be at peace with my mom. So yeah, this is actually the thoughts that a young girl has had to grow up with, which is twisted.
Which I think is so important, Miriam, because that you're saying these things, because I think there is a tendency to focus, in the children as children, in that stage of life, and all these ideas that I think they're still very, very short-sighted from what it means to grow up like this, but there is very little attention paid to the PTSD that a lot of us develop because of those situations, the way that affects in our everyday life, unfortunately, because you develop this, and you were saying it perfectly, you normalize the threat, so the threat can come at any point from anywhere, and we normalize it, but what it does to our psyche and our body obviously is not healthy, so it's it's just incredible that this is happening, this is being allowed. And obviously I have questions that they go in various levels. It's like, you're a student of journalism, you're also a woman, you're away from Spain. So I just wonder, from those various angles of what make you, Miriam, you see this. So for example, as a woman, you're obviously seeing it from the angle of not understanding why these men are so empowered to do what in Spain we call vicarious violence, not to use the children as a form of inflicting pain to the mothers. But also from your perspective now, with all the years behind you, what else do you think should be happening, or what else can we do as a society? What can other women do? What is it that, if you could change things, if you had the power to change things, what would you do?
I mean, I would start with the resources that are given to these women and their children, because they're not enough. In my case, they were not even good, because the facilities that I had to go through when I was younger, I would go to these sort of centers that they act as meeting point for families that have this type of situations. And I went through 3 different centers, and my experience in them is just probably the worst part of this whole story. In my case, the social workers that were in these facilities, they were just not understanding, not helping. I guess they're just not prepared to act with just a childhood and also feminist perspective. So they were just trying to convince me through just manipulation to go and see my father, to actually commit to the visits and give it a try. That's what they would say, as I didn't already know how it was being with him. But yeah, I would start with that. The social workers, also the judges, just everyone in the system that is sort of supposed to help the children, but they actually don't, because we end up being invisible.
Which, I was thinking, I asked you that question, and part of me was getting annoyed, thinking, well, how is it that, the women, the children, those of us who are abused have to come out, with ideas and solutions? It's really unfair that I ask you that question, because it shouldn't really be up to you. But yeah, it's just thinking of, where does it go wrong? And it's just shocking. It is. I think it's unbelievable, because I was listening to you and thinking, okay, but it's as simple as understanding that somebody that is abusive is a criminal, because it's hurting others, it's hurting children, it's hurting a wife. We should lose automatically any sort of entitlement for the privilege of being a father. And it's just, that's how I see it. Is you don't get to do that, because you're not equipped to be so. So I guess my last question, I don't want to keep you too long, and also, well, I have two now that I'm saying this. One is, are you really tired from having to even talk to me today, from having to talk about this? And
yes, this is actually the thing that I feel the most, because I'm obviously incredibly sad and angry with this whole situation, but I'm also really tired and exhausted that nothing has changed in so many years, and that I'm 21, I'll still have to go through this, because everyone kept telling me, once you are 18, everything's going to change, you can decide, you'll have your own opinion about this matter. And it wasn't this way, because I still testified in one of these trials um, between my parents, and I explained what I went through and everything. I was over 18 at the time, and she was still, how do you say, um, she sorry, she was still sentenced to prison. So I just felt like my opinion doesn't matter to anyone. People are telling me that he might be capable of being a good father, as if I hadn't lived with him for almost 2 years and just seeing him for even more. So yeah, I'm exhausted, and I know my mom is too, and we both have health issues as a result of all of this. My mom has well, I don't know the exact English names of these illnesses, but I basically have a chronic disease in my stomach, and it's caused by all of the stress and pain that I went through in my teenage years. I was diagnosed when I was 15, so just very tired, and just I just cannot see the end. I don't know where it's gonna end. I don't know when.
And so the last question is, what can we do for you? What can, the networks of women, the feminist movement, us, I'm interviewing you on behalf of FiLiA, which is a big organization. What can we do? Because I feel that tiredness. I spoke to your mom the other day, I spoke to you. And I think, having worked as an activist for many years, I think that there's a moment where it becomes such a long journey that it needs to be picked up collectively, because the people at the center cannot hold it, for that long. It's very, very difficult. So what can we do beyond trying to amplify your voice? And
to be honest, first of all, we're so thankful for all of the kindness and just help that we're receiving from people, especially women. I'm aware that if my mom hadn't come out to the media in 2009, when I was 9 years old and I was forced to go live with my dad, if she hadn't made society aware of this problem, she would be in prison by now. The people and just making noise and all of this repercussion and people knowing about our case is what kept her out of prison all these years, because the politicians, everyone understood the problem, and that's how she got the previous pardons, in my opinion. But yeah, I would say the biggest thing that we have to do is just keep making noise. I'm so tired. I honestly don't even like talking in public. Like it makes me really anxious. But I know I have to do it because it's my time to raise my voice and actually help my mom, because she has been doing this for me all of these years. So yeah, making noise and just raising awareness. Just, I don't know, it is honestly on the hands of the politicians and the system right now.
Miriam, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Muchísimas gracias. I won't put you through any other questions and much longer. I do appreciate enormously that you've been there, that your mom was there, to do this. All I can say is that I'll try my hardest to make sure that everybody hears about this everywhere, and there is a reaction of common sense, because it's just intolerable. Yeah. So anything you need, we're here. So thank you so much, Miriam.
Thank you.
And take care.